guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Roland and I'm here to tell you all things about the new Tesla Model Y in-wheel drive form in Glacier Blue color. So this is going to be a very long video, very detailed. It's probably the most detailed one that probably exists in Australia on YouTube. So all of the chapters for everything I'll be covering is going to be here on screen for you to pretty much select and look through. So if there's something in particular that you want to know about this car, then please by all means skip forward to that section, look at whatever you want, and also please do not forget to give this video a like and subscribe for more content for every time I post videos, reviews and anything else about EVs and or tech. So let's jump straight into the video. So first things first, the Tesla Model Y. What is it? It is of course a mid-size SUV. It is very popular. It is the most popular selling EV at the moment in Australia. It was previously the best-selling car in the world. That's right, in the world. So more about this car here. As I said, Glacier Blue entry-level Model Y. Now in terms of pricing, we're talking about $58,900 plus on-road costs. There is a higher spec, which is the long range, which is $10,000 plus on-road costs more, which is $68,900 plus on-road costs. So drive away both cars, you're talking about just over $64,000 and about $74,600 for the mid-spec, or the current top spec, which is the long range. So drive away, this car as it is right here is about $64,000, just a bit over that, and then the Glacier Blue is an added option as well, but more on that a bit later. Either way, rear-wheel drive, so it's got about 466 kilometers WLTP. As I said, the cost is $58,900 plus on-road costs, and it's about 4.7 meters long. So let's talk about some of the key competitors. So some key competitors that this car has realistically, two key competitors in the Chinese market, or actually there's probably quite a few now. So let's rattle them off, and by all means this is not the be all and the end all of the list, just rattling off a couple off the top of my head. You've got the BYD Sea Line 7, the Xpeng G6, Deepal SO7, you've got the Volkswagen ID4, just to name a few. So pretty much any car around the 4.7 meter mark, there's your competitors. So yeah, as I said, plenty of content, skip through whatever chapters you want and let's get going. So starting at the front over here, you will see that there is a light bar now that extends all the way across the car. So what I might do actually, I might unlock the car from the outside so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So look at that. So the light bar now extends from one side through to the other side. So whilst they do say it's a refresh, for the most part, you do get similar Model Y vibes as the previous gen, but the front pretty much looks totally different, same with the back. So now you've got light bar that comes across all over here, and it is daytime running lights, and then your actual headlights actually come down over here. So that's where your headlights are now, and yes, they are matrix LED headlights as well. You do have some air ducts over here that go through. Hopefully you can see that right through there. You'll also notice that there are no sensors, no parking sensors, no ultrasonic sensors anywhere around the car now, so it's now all camera based. And actually one new addition that you'll see to this car is right there. That's right, there is a front camera now on the car. So more on that later, but either way, as I said, it's whole new front redesigned car. You've got new camera there, no parking sensors at all. Also, you will find that this is a very clean look. So the Tesla badging is gone. Look at that. So that covers the front. Let's jump around to the side. So this one here is the entry level, as I said. So this comes with the 19-inch wheels. So these are the standard wheels that you get on the car. There are of course covers or wheel caps that are over it at the moment for aerodynamics and efficiency, but it is a square set. So in terms of dimensions, you're talking about 255/45 R19s, and they are Hankook Ventus S1 EVO EV wheels. So the previous generation Model Y also had the same 255/45 R19s, and you do have the options to get the 20-inch, but I think from a comfort side of things, these ones are the ones to pick, because the 45 there states 45% profile, or 45% of the 255 is that thickness over there, which means that you do have more comfort over there. And being a 19-inch wheel compared to the 20, it means that it is also lighter as well. So that's wheels. Hope you like that. But yeah, if you're not too big of a fan of these wheels over here, then at least you can remove the caps or the wheel covers off there, and they do have a better styling, I guess, subjective, but I'll put an overlay of the picture of what the wheels would be if you do remove those caps. Anyways, moving on. So the rest of the side, so you've still got only one camera over here. It is hardware 4 or HW4, and they do work really, really well. Further to the side over here, mirrors are exactly the same, cameras are the same besides being hardware 4. Moving further to the back, you can see, or hopefully you can see through the lighting, how much this color pops. So you can see all of those pearl-like crystal flakes. Anyways, let's swing around to the back. So as I said, the front was totally new and redesigned. The back also gets the same treatment. So this is obviously in the day. I'll put an overlay, a photo of the car at night, but you'll see that there is a light bar that extends all the way across over here. So it's pretty much underneath that shines onto this section over here, so it looks like it's all glowing red. So as I said, the whole thing has been redefined. So mainly you've got the lights that kind of come around here like a C shape over here, and then same on the other side. The light bar goes all the way under, and you'll see also Tesla badging over here. So the big T is now gone, replaced with the actual words. So in terms of the boot, it is now broken into 3 pieces, and that basically means from a repair side of things, it does keep the cost down. So the previous one used to be 1 piece from the top over there all the way down through to the boot panel over here. Right now, this section here, they've split as 1 panel. Then you've got a second panel that's over here, about there. And then we've got the third panel that goes from here up through to the top. So if there's anything that you need to repair on this car, at least it's going to cost less because you don't need to replace the entire thing. Otherwise, further down you can see that there isn't really much of a rear diffuser or anything of that likes, but you do have a cover over here for the tow package should you choose to get that in the near future, and of course a spot for the tow hook at the rear as well. But that's basically the rear. What do you all think? I think it looks fantastic, especially at night. But let's continue. Let's swing around through to the side. So over here, touch that, charge port opens. So this is your CCS2 port. So just the top is AC, the bottom bit there is mainly for DC. You plug it in and off you go. Very, very well done. Then there is also light over here, status light. So it changes colors depending on the status of your charge. And further around to the side over here, or back around to the side over here, everything else is pretty much the same. So what I'll do now is I'll do a final walk around of the car before we start to check out the insides and everything else about the car. So let's go. Alright, you've seen the outside of the car. Let's actually start with the boot for the look of the inside of the car. Now, before I actually go through that, so what I want to do is, you'll see up on screen the capacity in terms of litres for how much boot storage there is. And also I wanted to show you a new feature that's in this Model Y, which is basically the hands-free tailgate or hands-free boot. So what that means is there's an option in the car that you can enable so that when you walk up, it beeps a couple of times and then the boot automatically opens. How that works is because it detects your phone key that's close by in proximity. So it beeps, I think, 3 times, and then on the 4th time it opens. So I'll flip the camera around, I'll walk up to it and I'll demonstrate what I mean. All right, so we're walking up to the car at the moment. You'll hear a couple of beeps in a second. There you go. So that is the boot space that we are working with for the entire car. Now, this is pretty much extended to its maximum height. So you can see that is actually very, very high. The good side of things is you can adjust it just by holding down that button once you've adjusted to wherever you want. So if I want it at this height as an example, all I need to do is hold down that button, it'll beep and save there. And also the manual button to open the boot is actually just below the camera over here. Now let me open that back up. Okay, so as I said, this is the entire boot space in terms of what we're working with. Now with this new Model Y, you do also get this new boot cover. It is just a couple of panels that does fold up. It isn't one that, I guess, retracts, to better use of words. And in terms of folding, you can fold it up like this, but you can't fold it a second time because it actually gets stuck or it hits this section over here. So that's probably the most, and it is magnetic, so it is actually very, very easy to remove as well. So very good from that side of things. Now in terms of space, so let me actually lower the camera. So that's the entire space that you've got there. You do also retain the fantastic storage that the Model Y has to offer, which is this section in here. Heaps of deep space in there, and another one that is right here. So very, very deep storage, which is fantastic. And then if I just center back my camera, I've just lifted up this sub boot tray or the subfloor, so you can see that's even more storage that you have there. And by default it does have a section over here to put this up so that it can stand there if you are removing things or packing and unpacking your entire boot. So further to that though, if I leave this out, you can see there is also a second section over here that allows you to have even more storage. So if I pull the camera back, you can see that's all your storage there. So not only do you have a top storage, you've also got a bottom storage similar to the Model Y today. And as I said, you can remove the entire thing quite easily, and you can fold it. So there's a couple of ways you can fold it. Now I'm just using one hand at the moment, so it's proving to be obviously a little bit more difficult, but you can see where the panels do fold, and you can actually store it away if it's something that you don't need. And that way you've got a massive, massive boot to work with all of the extra space on the sides, all that additional space there. Also on the boot, you'll see over here, you've got two buttons, which is to pull the seats up and down. So it's electronic now in this new one. So watch, if I push this button here, it pushes that one, and then that one pulls it back. And the same thing with this one here for the left side. So you can stop it, and apparently it is extremely fast. So look at that. So there you go, that's everything about the boot. If there's something in particular you want to know, drop it in the comments box below. Otherwise, let's continue and look at the frunk. Also, the new Model Y, because it's got this electronic seat over here, it's also got a new function where it can actually also move the front seat. So what do I mean by that? So if I just quickly push down on this one to push this seat down, I've actually set the seat in the back over here to be quite close to this one over here. Actually, I'll just use this button here. So if I fold this seat, traditionally this seat here, the headrest, is going to actually hit this, but watch what happens. So we're going to push that button there. So you'll see how it's actually moved forward, and then it's moved back into position. So that's the same position. And then if we fold it back up, how smart's that? Okay, let's have a look at the frunk. So there's no button on our remote of any sort to open up the frunk. So basically you've got two options. You can either open it from within the car on the screen or on the app. So over here I've got the app. Actually that's a bit too glary, so I will just hit that button, but it's this one over here. So you'll see that it opens, and let me show you what space we're working with. So capacity wise I'll put on the screen as an overlay, but this is pretty much everything in terms of storage space. So how big is that? I would say you could fit probably 3 shopping bags across fairly easily. You can definitely put, I guess, a tripod or potentially even a camping chair across. Don't quote me on that. You can definitely put a small size suitcase in here with no issues at all. But I'll zoom out of the camera just to show you the entire thing in terms of where it opens. So you can see in terms of the opening, it does seem to be, I guess, a little bit bigger than the previous generation. I feel like the previous generation used to kind of cut down on each side like that, but now it's actually opened up. So key changes between the previous one and new one, I guess for this one, you've now got the windscreen wiper top-up that's down here. A lot easier to access. Previous generation, it was somewhere up the top over here. And then besides that, I think the space is the same, but you've also got a drain plug over here. So if you're having a party and you're filling this up with drinks and ice and water and whatnot, just know that you can actually use that as a drain plug. Or if you're going camping and everything and you do need to, I don't know, wash stuff or do something, you can do that too, and then use the drain plug. Something else that you'll notice that is new on this car here, I'm pulling the camera back up over here, are these over here. So I believe these are the bonnet actuators. So they're like a one-off use gas pump, or I don't know the specifics, I'll let someone else correct me, but I believe they're the actuators that actually are one-off use, and they do pop the bonnet up in the event of an emergency for a pedestrian, so that it kind of lifts the front of the bonnet. So basically what I mean by that is if the bonnet is closed, let me just close that. So you'll see how it's totally flush like that. In an accident, if it does hit a pedestrian as an example, the actuators will actually pop out and this will be lifted up like that so that it diverts the person, so they're not just smashing directly into the car, and they're kind of guided up to slide up instead. So that's pretty much the bonnet and the frunk. So any questions, drop it in the comment box below. Alright, let's have a look at the inside of the Tesla Model Y. So as always, starting from the door, you will see that it is unfortunately frameless, but it is dual pane glass, so fantastic in terms of sound insulation over here. Then what else do you see? So you've got a cup holder over here, or bottle holder. You've got your usual buttons here to control the windows. You've got emergency exit here, and then you've got your normal exit here, which is electronic latch. So push the button and that's it. So that's about it. Let's then have a look at the seats. So this is the new Model Y seats. 2 billion times better than the outgoing Model Y. So these seats pretty much look like a Tesla seat, especially with that top over there. The new ones here, they are made of, I guess, a top of vinyl, definitely not real leather, but they are heated and cooled on the front. Then in the back, they are on the outer sides, they are heated as well. So ventilated seats for the front as well now, so makes me a very, very happy person. Then on the side over here, for the driver's side, you've got your lumbar controls over here, along with your usual controls for the seat, and it does also lift up the seat as well, and just the front if you want to as well. So lots of adjustments there, so very, very good. And then over here in terms of the pedals, so these are, I guess, your standard pedals, just in black and rubber, so no metal finishes here, probably not yet until the performance model arrives. So yeah, that's basically it. Let's get inside and check it out. Alright, we are now inside the Model Y. Let's have a look around. So we'll start from the right to the left. So as I said, you've got the ambient light strip that kind of goes around all the way there. And then the light strip also goes around the side to the back as well, that you can see there. So that's new in this car. You also do have a newly designed steering wheel over here. So it does feel much thinner than the outgoing model. This bit here is also more prominent, so it makes the grip, I guess, a bit nicer. And then I think I've mentioned it in the past, but if I hold this over here, you'll see that the stitching is now also on the back, whereas previously in the outgoing one, it was actually down the bottom over here. So it's not a major thing, but sometimes if you're holding the steering wheel like that, you do feel it. And I guess in terms of feedback, initially for me, I felt it wasn't too nice, but kind of grown to ignore it. And yeah, the drive itself is probably more important, to be honest, but it's just a point of difference that I want to make sure that you're all across. Anyways, back onto the steering wheel. So as I said, it's totally newly redesigned steering wheel. So what do you have? Same two wheels over here where you can click and scroll. It's pretty much 4-directional. You do have a new button here, which is for the camera, which we'll talk about in a moment. So that's just this button over here. This one here is for voice commands. You can still click this one down if you want. This one is paired to Autopilot. Then over here you've got your high beams, so just push that and it flashes the lights. This one, pushing down, you can set various things, which we'll show you afterwards when we go through all the displays and functions. And this one here is, I guess, self-explanatory, which is to wash the windscreen wiper. So yeah, that's a steering wheel. I think overall it's a nice design. I like the fact that there's camera access there and high beams there, makes it really easy. And also this bit over here I think looks quite nice as well. Anyways, other than that, screen is a little bigger in this new version, from 15 inches to 15.4 inches. The mirror looks exactly the same as the previous outgoing one. You still also do have a camera over here as well. You do have 2 mirrors on the sides, one over here and of course one over here, or sunshades I should say, sorry, sun visors. They are LED lights as well on both, which are fantastic. They do feel thinner and they look thinner than the outgoing one. And the main difference between the outgoing Model Y and this one here is that you'll see and notice that it is actually a lot more curved. So see how it comes down here straight and then it kind of curves over here. It kind of fits as a mold over here to the car. So it means that the outgoing one probably was thicker in terms of this section to this section. So they've allowed for even more glass on the roof. And it is still magnetic, quite easy to pull out. And let's see if we can pull out this way too. Yes, you can. So that is great. Then further up here, you've got your lights, which are just touch sensitive. So I'm not too sure if you can see it from there. I think you should be able to see it now. So you'll see P, R, N, D. So it's all here. So technically, it is touch sensitive. You can actually push those buttons as well anytime you want. And then of course that's touch sensitive for the hazard lights as well. Other than that, you do have 2 wireless phone chargers. These are new and improved. And why are they new and improved? Let me tell you. So I may have shown you in the past, I've got an iPhone 16 Pro Max, so the bigger phone, or the bigger iPhone. I've got a case here which also has a stand, and you can see that because of the camera bumps and the stand that I've got built into the case, it does protrude up a lot more. So generally speaking, the phone is sort of lopsided on an angle. Now in the outgoing Model Y, or the one that we have, whenever I put the phone on, it actually doesn't charge properly. However, on this one here, when I put it on, it charges straight away. So whilst it pretty much looks the same, it is definitely improved. Then further down, we have some storage. So let's look at that. So very, very clean look. If I show you from top to bottom. So they are spring loaded, push back, push forward, and they are stuck there. And then it's soft opening and closing as well. So 2 cup holders over here. It feels like they've kind of knocked out this middle bit, so it's a little bit bigger. And you do have some rubber teeth over here as well, as opposed to just being flat. And then this bit here is totally redesigned. It is massive, massive, massive in here. Now, for context, can you fit a big water bottle? You can't fit it here, but let me show you. Look at that. That just literally sits in there, and I can actually move it in as well, and all the way back here as well. That's just to show you how big this space actually is. And if I put this down there, you can see that's actually lying flat. So that's how big the storage is inside. So this bottle can lie flat and it can go up like that as well. Now, one thing you may potentially have noticed, where are the USB ports and everything? Well, you've still got, I guess, one section over here, which now does not require a button at all. It is magnetic, so if I close that, I can just open that. And they do have a little section that protrudes over here, because when you close it, the USB-C cables, or the USB-C port, has been moved inside here, so you can still run the cable out if you need. So where are the new ports? Let me show you. So down over here on this one, you'll see that there is one down there. So if I flick that up, you'll see that there. So that is the cigarette lighter port. So that's been moved down here. And you'll find that there are no USB-C ports here at all. Where have they moved it? They've moved it right here, and they've shrunk it. So there is now only one right there. See that there? Right there. And this bit here still does go in just a little bit, not too much. Look, if I have to use my water bottle to demonstrate again, that's pretty much it. So can't fit any more than that, but it is still decent size. But fact of the matter is, they have shrunk, and you've got one less USB-C port. It is now over here, and your cigarette lighter port is down over there. Then you also do have a glove box over here. However, for the life of me, for whatever the reasons are, I'm not too sure if you can hear it, but if I click glove box, you may have heard a little release sound, but it's just not working. So unfortunately, I can't show you anything there. Otherwise, the only other thing I guess to call out that is slightly different or somewhat different to the previous Model Y, and quite noticeable, is you'll see that, or you'll feel as well, that this is a soft material. It's fabric with, I guess, a bit of foam, and you'll see that also extends across over here as well and to the sides. So it's this grey textile-like colour. So no more glossy bits, not at least in this version. So that's basically everything to do with the front of the car. If you have any questions, drop it in the comment box below. Otherwise, let's go check out the back. Alright, so I have prepared one kid seat in here for you to see, and it's a booster, so you can see how much space we have. So these are the seats in the rear. Look fairly similar to the ones at the front, but these ones here are heated only. There is no cooling in them at all. Then you've got the usual no transmission tunnel, all flat, plenty of space. So let's get in and I will talk you through everything that's different. First point of call actually before we get in is you'll notice that these headrests are now separated, so it's not one piece within the seat, so you can adjust them. There are clicks over here that you can lift them, and you can actually totally remove them as well. So I actually think that's quite welcoming, especially because it just makes installing kid seats a whole lot easier without wrecking the headrests at all over time. Because if you didn't have this and it was one piece, you'd have that strap digging in or around the headrest. And over time, I guess that's wear and tear. So let's get in and I'll show you everything inside. Alright, so I'm sitting in the Model Y in the back seat at the moment. You can see, yes, my shoulders do cross a little bit over into the middle seat. So as with I think most cars realistically, I'll cross a little bit over into that second seat. But I am very, very comfortable, and we'll go through the settings in a moment, but you can also access aircon controls, heated seats, move seats. You can do all of that through the screen over there as well. Now, let's actually flip the camera around and let's show you how much space there is here. So I've got the seat moved forward a little bit, but that side is basically my driving position, with it also being pushed back a little bit because it's in easy entry mode. So what that means is I have that much space that I can actually stretch. So you can see that the seats are actually raised a fair bit through this section over here. And so if I had to imagine me sitting normally, I could easily fit the same based on distance over that side and still be very, very comfortable. Now let's flip from left to right and see everything we've got. So up over here you've got coat hanger hook or shopping hook or anything else you need to call it. You've got LED light over there, whole massive glass roof that goes around. You've got the same thing on that side over there. Then in front of you immediately you have these, I guess, hard, durable map pockets or iPad pockets. Now it's also hard on this side, it's not felt lined or anything, so just be aware of whatever it is you want to put in there. Swing further around, the only other thing to show you, I've shown you the detachable headrest, which is a new welcoming change. You've also got this section here, which unfortunately doesn't extend any further out, but it is two cup holders that you do have over here, which is still quite good. The only reason why I say they unfortunately don't extend out is because for anyone with kids that are front facing, their seats would usually come back out to here, so it's actually harder for them to reach a drink bottle if that is what they want to do. However, from an adult side of things, I think, look, I'm sitting back at the moment and this is my arm here, so it's actually not too bad. It's quite comfortable. And the lucky last bit is the screen. So let's take a good look at what you can do with this screen. So first things first, by default it's here on aircon. You can turn it off if you'd like, and then it's off. You tap it on and then it's turned on. It is pretty much a drag and drop to wherever you want, right? So very, very good. It's so customizable, put it wherever you want. And same thing with this side, and you can do two sides at once to whatever you want. This here also just means push it up and push it into your face or above your head. You can also automatically aim it here at your face as well. And if I actually hold the camera back and I put this at my face over here, I can confirm I can actually feel it. So it's actually already pre-configured and very, very good. Now, what else can you do? So if I look at this button over here, that looks like it's fan speed. So one fan versus two fans over here. This is currently in the fan section, so that line there indicates that we're currently in this fan menu. You've got seat settings over here. So this here also allows you to move the front. So if you have a look down over here, if I actually push the down button, I can move the seat backwards and forwards. Now that only works when there is no one in the car or no one sitting in that seat. You can't unfortunately change that to any other seat. Then you've got your heated seats, as I said, you could turn it on off. Same thing with the side. Then this one here is for my seat, where I'm sitting on. So you can actually fold it and unfold it through here as well. If you're not talking about folding, then you can also recline the seat further back through these as well. And then this here just essentially is a quick fold. So this one here, sorry, was adjusting, and then you've also got a full fold. So here you can actually go full forward. And then you can also go full backwards. So let me actually show you the difference. So I've just pushed this seat forward, which you can see the difference between both seats over here. And then if I push it backwards, that's pretty much what you can do. So very, very handy to have this screen at the back. My kids personally love it. Then we can go to music. So Spotify, whatever music you're playing at the front, it just pretty much mirrors everything here to show you. One option that didn't show here, that I'll see if I can show you in a moment, is to do with navigation. So if you're navigating somewhere else, it does show you progress bar and everything on there, but more on that in a moment. And so on this screen, you've got a couple of media options that you can pick from, mainly YouTube, Netflix and Twitch. So if you click on Netflix as an example, once it loads, so I'm currently in the kids section, so let's just play this Bread Barbershop as an example. So play that. This one currently we've got the sound turned off at the moment. You can turn it on to use the rear speakers, but the main control or the master control is actually from the front. And usually when you do play something here, it does ask you to allow the rear audio from the front over there, and then it shows. Now, sitting back, you are definitely looking sort of down in order to watch stuff, but I mean, realistically, it's better than not having anything at all. Now, if I get out of that, so one thing to call out, I guess, in terms of how it works, is it only uses the car speakers in the back to play the videos here. So if you're playing Netflix and you do set allow from the front, it actually uses the speakers around the back for you, and the front person actually can't listen to anything. How do you get around that? Well, you go to Bluetooth settings, and you can actually add a new device, and you can add Bluetooth headphones. So you can add 2 sets of headphones if you want, and then you can watch anything you want. Otherwise, you can also play games from here as well, and you can also connect a Bluetooth controller, and you can play whilst you're sitting back over here as well. So that works out really, really well. Okay, so just a quick section also on how the rear screen works. So as I showed you before, there is a rear screen menu right here. It's currently grayed out though, so I can't push anything. But you can see, if I show you back here, I'll zoom out. You can see down here, I've got something playing on the screen. So it's not showing there, and it is also showing, if I get rid of that, that Netflix is playing using the rear speakers. You can control the volume here for the rear, and if I put this to the front, then the rear loses the audio in that instance. And then if I actually put the car into park, you'll now see in the menu, rear is now activated, so you can touch that and this actually replicates what is happening in the back, which you see down here. And you can also lock the rear display. You can also expand it full screen if you want. And you can see down here, this is also being controlled by the front display. So if I actually swipe this down, this actually also swipes down there. So if I swipe it halfway, so I'm lifting it halfway up, so you can see it's basically whatever is happening in the rear right there. So if I tap on that and I hit pause, it'll pause as well. And if I actually open up Netflix here, it actually opens up the entire thing. So we're watching the same thing on both. And this side also, if you are playing it on the front, it also brings the auto out through to the entire car as well. And the last thing is in terms of GPS, so I've set navigate on the main screen up there. So you can see as an example, navigation, so 35 minutes away, arriving at 4:51 p.m. So you can also see all of that there. Now if you're playing music, again you'll see it is an overlay over here, which is great. So you can always see at any point in time what time you'll be getting to your destination. So that's everything to do with the rear. As always, if you've got any questions, please do drop it in the comment box below. Otherwise, let's move on to the next part. Also forgot to mention, yes, the rear is also double pane glass. Hopefully camera focuses and you can see that right there. And then again, what do you get in the back? So you don't have any manual buttons for your heated seats. You've just got your window switch here, door opening here, and then down over here, you'll see, hopefully you can see that there. So if you lift this out, you'll see there is a cable there for you to pull out so that you can have your emergency exit. And also one thing I forgot to cover off is you've got some controls for your seat over here as well, to fold it or to move it back and forth. Okay, let's go through all of the options and everything you need to know about the screen. So as I said, it's a 15.4 inch screen, so 0.4 inches bigger. Let's start, I guess, at the top right. So you've got your battery percentage over here. Then if you switch to that and you just tap that, it just tells you how many kilometers over there. Does also tell you fasten your seatbelt as soon as you get in. You've got auto high beams currently enabled over here. You can choose to open your charge port right here if you want, and it automatically opens the settings over here as well. So I'll close out of that. Then let me just hit end trip so we have less distractions on the screen. So what else do you see over here? So you can open trunk, you can open frunk from there, you can close the trunk electronically. You can't close the frunk electronically there. That's self-explanatory. You've got 2 lock unlocks. Then you've got your profile over here. So if you tick on that, you've got easy entry, which essentially pushes the seat back. You've got parental controls, and then you've also, you've got parental controls, which you can tick, which you have all of these settings over here, which I personally think as a parent is absolutely amazing. And then if you go back to your profiles, you do also have valet mode. So you can create a 4-digit pin so that it locks, I think, the glove box, and I think it locks the frunk as well and limits the speed for you. Other than that, you can go to driver profile settings, you can set it up and you can add additional profiles in there as well. Otherwise, from the main screen, you can hit home, you can hit work, you can have that all preset, so it's very, very easy for you to, I guess, navigate around the screen. You can also just keep spinning the car around and having a look and admiring the color that you have if you'd want, or you could also change that if you want. Now, it is very quick and intuitive, so if I open my door, watch what happens here on screen. So that shows us opening as well. And if I put the window down, you can see that that also puts the window down over there as well. So now I'm going to open the 2 left sides, so look at that. And yes, I am opening them at different speeds. So if I click both together for them to both come up. So absolutely love it. I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, look, when you do start driving, it does change from this screen and it does start to look at all the cars around you and you do get a different map, but more on that when we go through to the drive. You also do have your map or GPS over here. You can tap on that and it kind of expands this whole section over here as well. So you can navigate around, you can swipe around, and it is very, very intuitive. By default, I think it's usually off in terms of this world map. So you do see this 2D map, or just this flat non-realistic map. Traffic I've turned on, which is this button over here, so you can actually enable that. I do believe that to have traffic alerts though, you do need to pay the $9.99 a month in order to access that. Then you've got this bit over here which shows, I guess, waypoints. This bit here is actually fantastic. I love that. It pretty much helps you navigate to different chargers. So 1 is the slow chargers. If you take that off, 3 is all of the fast chargers. And you'll see that these ones here are non-Tesla chargers, so they're just grayed out. This one here shows that there's 5 at the moment, 16 kilometers away. You'll see supercharger in Forest Lodge, New South Wales. There's currently a wait for this one here. And yeah, there's lots of information, as you can see. And for the supercharger ones, or the Tesla supercharger ones I meant, you can also see the price that it is going to be per kilowatt hour as well. So very handy, and I can confirm that if you are navigating to a non-Tesla supercharger, it does also precondition your car as well, which is fantastic. Then the last thing is you've got this one over here which talks to you about weather. So this, once it's done its scan, or once it's done its loading of stuff, you can see that it starts to move here from now until 7 p.m. and what the weather looks like. And in terms of determining what the weather looks like, you can see green is actually light, then it goes to moderate, heavy, severe. So severe is anywhere red. So where we are at the moment, we're actually pretty good. Okay, and then what else do you see? So you've also got temperature at the top over here. So if you click on this, it tells you the suburb in which you're at. Also some details around temperature and timing and weather details over here as well. If you do click on here, now I won't click it because of my personal details, but it can load and sync your calendar details. So if you click on the time, it actually loads your calendar for you. Then you've got this clock here. Now I've got a clock here because software update. There is actually a software update on this press car at the moment. So that's why that's there. It's asking you to schedule a time to install it. This here turns on and off Sentry mode. And that pretty much is the whole UI at the top bit. Now on the bottom bit, this here is for volume. You can just click on that to go louder, softer, mute, unmute, then equalizer settings over here. I've pushed all of these up just to see how much we can push the sound system. You'll notice, as I said, this is the rear-wheel drive model. There is no subwoofer in this car, so that's something that's unfortunately missing. Sound system is okay. Definitely not comparable by any means to our Model Y performance. That one definitely does blow things out of the water. It's fantastic, and you do have heaps of bass because of the sub. This one here is, I guess, just acceptable for what it is in a car, and it's quite decent. Anyways, this is pretty much what you can set up here. You've also got balance, options, and sources that you can kind of change up to whatever you like. Then down here you've got your manual, the 3 dots I'll push in a moment. Then down over here you've got the camera. So if I click on that, you can see that's currently the front camera, so the new camera I showed you earlier at the front. These are your side cameras, and if you swipe up, you'll see this is now the rear. So swipe down, it brings to the front. So unfortunately there is no 360 view or combined view for all of them. You do also have, believe it or not, a washer for the front, but unfortunately there isn't one for the rear. So if I push that for the front, you can see it sprays water there to wash it off, or to wash off any dirt. Now I presume it's probably more wanted here at the front, purely because it is facing the roads, and if you're driving on dirt roads and whatnot, it's something that you may want to wash off. Then you've got this bit here which opens up the camera, Sentry, and everything else that you need to, I guess, worry about. And it actually does go through all of the cameras around the car. So it used to only be 4 cameras, but these days you've actually got even left pillar and right pillar as well. So you've got left, so this is the fender cameras that point backwards. Then this is on your left, which is right between the front and the back door. Same with the right, and then you've got the front and the back. So this is where the license plate is, or just above that. And then you've got the front camera, which uses the bit at the top as opposed to the bottom front camera. So this camera here is actually above the car, whereas if I click on this camera here, you'll see it's much lower. So this bit here is using the camera down the bottom. So that's that. Let's click on these 3 dots now. So here's everything else that you can do and adjust. So these are all customizable. So you can see here, once I hit customize, it says drag icons to my apps to customize. So as an example, my apps is everything over here. So if for argument's sake I wanted to replace energy over here, then the next one for the camera is gone. And again, you can adjust to your heart's content, then hit done, and that's it. So if I click on energy, that pretty much gets you through all of the details for energy related stuff. Now back on the three dots. So as I said, you can adjust everything here. I think I won't go through any of these as they are self-explanatory. This rear section over here, that actually goes to show you where everything is at. So speaker source, front, rear. You can also lock the display, and then you can also control stuff for them at the back as well. So whatever you push here actually is mimicking whatever's happening at the back as well. Nav is self-explanatory. We've gone through these two. We'll have a quick look at energy. So energy, you've got drive, which talks about your current drive. Park, which is what's happening when you are pretty much staying there parked. So you can see screen time, preconditioning, cabin overheat, and so forth. And 5.6 kilometers worth consumed since an hour ago. If I switch that to percentage, you can see I've consumed 1.3% whilst I'm here recording content for you all. And you can see since last drive or since last charge as well. And then you've got general consumption. So what am I using at the moment? So for the past 300 kilometers, past 150, and past 15 kilometers, that's everything you can see. Okay, next, a couple of these are self-explanatory, so I won't go through that. Theatre, as I've shown you in the rear screen, Netflix, YouTube, Twitch, Tesla tutorials. Arcade, you've got a whole bunch of games. So Boomerang, Foo, Castle Doombad, Beach Buggy. All of these games are fantastic for killing time, especially now knowing that you can play these in the back as a passenger. But honestly, Tesla have done so well to be able to include entertainment, especially for charging, road trips, you name it. Toy box is always an interesting one. You can do light show, emissions, which is, I guess, fart sounds, colorizer, so changing the color of the car, like this bit here. Boombox, which you can pretty much control from your phone and I guess do wacky things. You can play media, you can talk through it. There's plenty of things that you can do. So next one here is Boombox. So you'll see over here, entertain a crowd when parked using your vehicle speakers, check local laws before use. You can play current media, megaphone. You can set different lock sounds. So if you want the lock sound to be a fart, as an example, you could do that. Same with horns. So, as an example, if you preview that, whenever you push the horn, it's going to make a fart sound. And you've got a couple of other gimmicky things that I guess you could also use and muck around, keep the kids entertained as you do. Okay, so three dots. What's next? You've got the manual, you've got a web browser, Spotify, Bluetooth, radio, karaoke, and tuning. So the only other one is karaoke. You can sing to music and so forth. And yeah, now that's everything that you can see from the main menu and also some of the other options. Let's actually go through now the car options in terms of what you can actually adjust for the car itself. So first things first, you do have a search function to search for whatever you want, which is really, really good. Then you go to controls, so lights, fold mirrors, child locks, all of the different types of locks. As I said, I can't show you the glove box because it's not working here, unfortunately. Then you've got wipers, auto, off, or your various settings. Then you've got adjustments for mirrors and steering. So basically, if you click on that, you've got left, right settings. And you can actually do auto tilt, auto fold, auto dim for all of those as well, which work really well. You've also got car wash mode. So if you click on that, look at that, it's fantastic. So car wash mode closes all windows, locks charge port, disables windshield wipers. Sentry mode, walk away door locks, and parking sensor chimes as well. So very, very good. And then of course, Sentry mode. So that's about it from this section. Okay, so let's jump to the next section. So dynamics, acceleration, chill, and standard mode only. You don't have any faster ones, unfortunately. deceleration, so how quickly the vehicle slows down when accelerator pedal is released. So you've got reduced and standard. My personal view is you want it to decelerate as fast as possible, as much as possible, so that you obviously recuperate all of that energy. You've then got traction mode and then steering weight, so light, standard, heavy. So this is more about when you're turning the steering wheel, how heavy does that feel for you. Then you've got auto shift beta, which I've currently got on, and yeah, I'm still mixed minds. I'm not used to it, and obviously it's just something that because of muscle memory that you'll need to get used to, but me personally, I've still been trying to grab the handle. Anyways, next bit here is charging. So I've already charged the car a couple of times. You can basically adjust whatever you want in terms of the amps or speed over here. You can schedule charging as well, and the schedule is actually pretty good for precondition and charge at various locations as well. So if you go charge, you know, it's really customizable. You can select the specific day, time, start, end, repeat, and so forth. So really, really well done. Then you've got some safety options. So Sentry mode we've covered off. You can also enable it in your phone app, which I'll cover in a separate section for the app, which is here. Dash cam as well. You can delete dash cam clips, format the USB drive. I'll pause the screen here. These are some additional safety things that you can, I guess, enable or disable here for yourself. Okay, and further down, you've got additional options. So automatic blind spot camera. So show side camera when turn signal is engaged. I love this one because it really does help you ensure you don't hit anyone. So as soon as you indicate, the side cameras come on and you can see what's behind you, and it works really well. The blind spot collision warning chime, that's pretty good as well. Just gives you, I guess, some chimes around not hitting anything. So the next one here around blind spot warning light, I actually really like. So on the left hand side, right there is a red dot that actually does pop up. So I'll do a video overlay of what that looks like, but there is a red dot that pops up over here and also on the driver's side over there whenever you're driving. And what that essentially does is it just gives you a warning so that you can see that there is a car there, and it just replaces the traditional signal that's on your side mirror. So I think that's actually really good. Okay, and then you've got rear cross traffic chime, which is really good because whenever you're reversing, it does sense vehicles, and yeah, it gives you a chime, which is, I guess, good if you're always or sometimes distracted. These ones here, I guess, are self-explanatory, so I won't go through that. Parental controls we've gone over already. You just need to hit that on, and then it allows you to select whatever you need to. Cabin overheat protection, you can actually turn that on if you'd like. I'll pause it here. I won't read that line by line, but that gives you the description of what cabin overheat protection is. Further down, you've got park assist chimes. So as you're reversing, when it gets closer, it starts to chime and notify you of how close you are. Lower volume in reverse, self-explanatory. Joe mode, I'll pause there for you to read that if you want to know more. Other than that, you can manually put the park brake on, and you can also power off the car. This here totally shuts down the car. Moving on, you've got service mode. So recommended pressure over here, front rear is at 42, so this is 1 psi flat at the moment, or flatter or less. You can check tire service mileage as well. You've got your owner's manual, you've got camera visibility, which tells you if there's any issues over here. You've got information on wheels and tires, so you can select whichever wheels you have, which then helps update tire pressure warning levels, car visualizations, and whatnot as well. So plenty of things to update over here. Maintenance is another cool one that they added as an update last year for Tesla vehicles. You can pretty much do resets, and you can actually check whatever you need there. And then it also tells you or teaches you what to do if you want to request service. You can't request service from here, it just gives you instructions to do it on the app. Now, jumping back to this section here, you can also adjust headlights, towing notifications. You can do a whole lot of things that you can see over here. The one thing that I think is pretty cool is actually camera preview. So that actually lets you see everything around you. Like me, hello, right there, that's using the top camera over there. So you can actually use all of the cameras around the car, and you can see everything there. So remember, none of this is actually recorded, but this is actually just showing you where everything's at, or I guess what the status is of everything around you without needing to get outside your car. Then you've got software. So you can see if I go additional vehicle information, base model audio system, full self-driving, so it's hardware 4, it's got heat pump, LFP battery, and all the other details there for the car. You can also see that I've got a software update is here, it's up to date, but I do have one that it's asking to install as well. Then you've got some navigation changes that you could actually put through whatever you want. So navigation preferences, I meant. And you can also include third-party charging stations. So that is the bit that I was mentioning earlier on, which is really good. Trip details. So basically, you can rename whatever you want. You can show in trips card, which is this section over here. And if you swipe again, you can see the tire pressure over there. Then Wi-Fi, Bluetooth is self-explanatory. Other than all of that, you do have notification section over here, which tells you alerts and whatnot. You do have Bluetooth settings, and you do have a SIM card in the car, which you can also enable Wi-Fi to pair it to your phone, to use your phone's hotspot for internet, if that's what you choose. So that's basically everything to do with the whole screen and all the functions over there. If you have any questions, drop in the comments below. Otherwise, let's move on to the next section. Now let's talk differences between both Model Ys. There's the long range and the rear drive. So this here being the rear drive spec. So first things first, $10,000 difference plus on-road costs. So realistically, it's just a little bit over $10,000 once you factor in the on-road cost aspect. And what do you get? So basically, the exterior is exactly the same, believe it or not. So there's actually, the only way you can actually tell is the dual motor badge at the back. Otherwise, you can't really tell because they both look exactly the same. In terms of range, you've got 466 kilometers versus 600 kilometers in the new Model Y long range. Now, that 600 kilometers actually was just updated sometime over the past week. So it actually used to be less, but now it's rated at 600 kilometers WLTP for the long range. In terms of acceleration, this car supposedly does it 0 to 100 in 5.9 seconds, whereas you've got 4.8 seconds for the long range, and you can still buy acceleration boosts. At least the launch series did include that as well, which should shave roughly about 0.4 seconds off that 0 to 100 time. So 5.9 to 4.8 seconds for 0 to 100. Then in terms of audio, you've got a 9-speaker audio system in this car versus 15 speakers and 1 subwoofer in the long range. In terms of wheels, look exactly the same. You've got the 19-inch, the black ones that you've seen today. Also have the option to buy the 20-inch. Hence I said the only difference on the exterior is the badging. And then the other thing is on the inside, as I showed you earlier on, you've got this grey type textile fabric type material that's all around the car. Apparently for the long range, you've got premium materials for a black interior. That's what you're pretty much paying $10,000 plus on-road costs for. So let me read them out in summary again. You're going for $10,000 as a summary. This is what you're getting. You're going from 466Ks to 600Ks. Mind you, that's not real world. That's just WLTP. You've got faster acceleration by about 1.1 seconds. You've got another 6 speakers and 1 subwoofer. And the supercharging is actually quicker. So the maximum DC charge rate, because this car's an LFP battery, it peaks out on paper at about 170 kilowatts, whereas the long range is an NMC battery chemistry, and that supposedly does, I think, about 210 kilowatts, at least from memory. And then, of course, the different interior materials. So that's what you get for $10,000. And the main one, quite obviously, the long range is also all-wheel drive. That's a big aspect for the people that do care and do want that additional power in acceleration and I guess sportiness in handling and whatnot. So $10,000, you tell me, would you buy it? Is it worth it? For me personally, as a person who loves all-wheel drive cars, to me it's a no-brainer. That's worth it. But it is a lot of money these days. $10,000 can buy a lot. $10,000 is many holidays, many day trips, many overnight trips, even in some cases, small trips overseas. So yeah, I can see why people would be buying this one. So let's talk about some things I like and I don't like about this Tesla Model Y. First things first, I love the seats. The seats are so much better than the outgoing one. Night and day difference. I'm actually comfortable, I'm not uncomfortable. And you've also got cooling seats. So that's first thing. Second thing I like is the added camera for the front. So, you know, just a click of a button and you can see whatever's at the front. Let me actually show you quickly now. So just a click of this button over here, and look at that, you've got the front camera, and you can also wash it if you need as well. So very, very, very good. Very handy in terms of parking. One of the great things about this new Model Y is having a new front camera. And I think it's underrated in terms of an upgrade or how needed it is, because if you look in front, it's not the tightest, but imagine if this was a tight area. I could just turn on my cameras and I could easily get through with no trouble at all. And actually, if I show you the next bit, if I drive forward over here, normally I'm not a person that kind of parks head on in, but with a front camera, you can come close, and I can stop right there. So that works out perfectly. The next thing I absolutely love is the fact that you've now got aircon swing. Now, this is obviously not new to the world. You know, my mum's car back in 1992, we had a Mazda 626 that had manual swing, like a manual physical button where you push and it actually swings aircon. So, and I know a lot of other cars actually have it too, but for Tesla, it's new and it's great. And the reason why I say it's great is because right here, I've turned it on so you can see it swing. It also means that I can finally feel the aircon on my face. So this was one of the things that I actually didn't like in my current Tesla Model Y. The aircon does not work well. You know, you put it down to 20 degrees, you still don't feel it. You put it on high, sometimes you still don't feel it. This is at 20.5 degrees at the moment. It's on swing and I can feel it on my face. So for the ones that I guess had concerns washed away. It's done. This isn't on high. This is on auto mode at the moment, and I'm pretty sure that it's not on crazy high. Yeah, it's on low. In fact, it's not even on high. So I can feel it on my face. So I'm very happy. And the last thing I love about the Tesla Model Y comes back to the app. Now, I'll get a video out in the future for this, but the app, the integration, the things you can do in there, absolutely fantastic. You've got so much control, and they make it so easy to do various things that it's honestly a no-brainer. You don't need training of any sort. It's intuitive. You go through the certain menus, you go through certain things, and it pretty much just lets you do whatever you need to do very simply without jumping through too many loopholes. Now, let's jump to some things I don't like about this car. So, first things first is the parcel shelf. Why does it not retract? Why is it just a few pieces of solid wood, cardboard or something? I would personally prefer a retractable piece so that you can retract it all the way in, so you've still got additional storage without needing to take off the entire thing. So that's just my personal preference. So, you know, I totally respect your decision. If you feel like that's the absolute fantastic thing and it's the best, kudos to you. But for me personally, I feel like I would have liked to have a retractable shade instead. The next thing that I don't like is, actually, it's funny, I do like it. It's to do with the camera. So now when you push camera, you've got front camera, and then you do that, you've got rear camera. And I also know for a fact, if I go down over, where is it? I think it's in service. If I go to camera preview, I know for a fact that you've got left pillar, you've got right pillar, and you've got the fender as well. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because you have the ability to stitch a 360-degree view to make things easier for drivers, to make parking easier for drivers. Why can't we have that? I would love to have a view where we could see everything together in one go. Please. Hopefully that's not too much to ask, but maybe one day. The next thing I don't like, and I think it's covered off before, is the fact that you push once and you get autopilot, and previously using the stalks you could pull down once, you get traffic aware cruise control, you pull it twice, you get autopilot. Now you've only got the one press. Now I believe that feedback's already gone back to Tesla. However, the pain point does exist at this point in time, so fingers crossed it's fixed in the future. Is it a deal breaker? No, I don't think so. I think the car is still absolutely drivable. It's just something that was a convenience. And if you didn't have it, you wouldn't know you've missed out on it. However, I do have it, and therefore I'm missing it. So therefore it's a pain point for me. And that pretty much sums up the things that I like and I don't like about the Tesla Model Y. So let's move on to the next part. Okay, since we have enhanced autopilot, I want to see if we can actually get away with learning how to use this auto park. So we're going to put the car into reverse. Let's then drive around. And let's see how this car handles auto park. So I want to park here on the right. So let's go indicate. We've selected this one. Let's hit start. And I am doing nothing. So I've got my foot on the half on the brake, ready to hit stop in case I need. This is the first time we're doing auto park. So far so good. Wow, that was good. That was good. Now I don't know if this is reverse only or anything. So let me just drive forward, and I might indicate. Okay, so you see some spots over here on the side too, so let's expand that. Let's go this one and let's hit start. So it looks like it might be just reverse only, unless there's something in the settings that I've missed. But it's actually doing a pretty good job. It's being extra cautious not to go over the lines as well. Alright, we're in the Model Y. We're going to record some content here for autopilot. So, what's the speed limit here? Speed limit here looks to be 60. So, we're on 60 k's an hour. In this car, because you have no right hand stalk, it's now integrated into this button. So I believe all we do is push the button once. There we go. And that should be it. Simple. Push of a button. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if I notice any differences between our Model Y and this one. So I've got my foot near the brakes on the accelerator. It's now switching speed, so I think let's try hold this down, see if it automatically adjusts. So hold down the steering wheel. Nope, that doesn't automatically adjust. But if I unclicked it and clicked it again, it straight away picks up on the 80. So it is potentially something that I've missed and I haven't read in the manual, so don't hate me for that. But in the outgoing Model Y, we can hold down the lever and it will actually update to the new speeds. Or maybe it's something in the settings, so don't quote me for that bit. But so far, as you can see, it's held speed really, really well, sort of going downhill. I've set it to absolute at 0 kilometers per hour threshold, which means that it should do maximum 80 k's an hour. It should not go over 80 at all. Teslas have traditionally been absolutely fantastic in managing the speed, whereas some of the other cars haven't done as well. I think it was either one of the cars, either the Zika or the EV3 GT line. One of them, I think, got very, very, very close. Only tipped over the speed by 1 kilometer once. Otherwise, they were fantastic cars as well. So far in terms of the highway test, I think this car's been doing pretty well. Now, if you saw that maneuver, that is what you get with Enhanced Autopilot, or EAP. So basically that helps you navigate in and out of lanes whilst keeping on your autopilot or active cruise control. So executed that pretty well, I must say. And so if you are looking at this front camera, basically just pay attention to these blue lane markings. If they are solid blue, that means that I've got autopilot on. So let's see how long I can keep this on for before I feel like I need to take over to overtake someone, or if I feel like it's not sufficient enough. And I'm just clicking on the right steering wheel to bring it down to a 2-car gap. Now I've just gone off autopilot for the purposes of this is a merge lane here on my right, and being in Sydney, you can never be too sure. Alright, let's just indicate out. But yeah, so far the autopilot has been doing amazing. Okay, so we're back on at 80 k's an hour for autopilot. One of the things I wanted to try, I saw some feedback around the implementation or lack of implementation of having the traffic aware cruise control along with autopilot. So what I mean by that is in the outgoing Model Y, you could set it so that one pull down is traffic aware cruise control and 2 pulls is autopilot. And even though you're on 2 pulls for autopilot, if you say, for instance, you move the steering wheel and it kicks you out of autopilot, it still maintains the speed at using traffic aware cruise control. Whereas I heard that it's only single click for this car, at least now. And so if I move the steering wheel, the car should come to a stop, and it doesn't have the function where it continues at the speed, with exception to me needing to steer. So let's give that a go. So if I turn the steering wheel a little bit, yep, the car's coming to a stop. So I'll just turn it back on. So yes, there you go. There is no double click or anything. So I'll move it out of the way. I'll drive like normal. I'll try click twice. Nope. There you go. Doesn't have it. So it says auto steer temporarily unavailable. So there you go. But either way, so far it's worked flawlessly, hasn't exceeded the speed limit from what I'm currently using. And let's try indicating to the right, since this has the auto lane change as well. Let's see how quick and smooth that is. So it's quite clear behind me as well. So if I navigate now, one touch there. It says apply slight force, so let's apply force. So it's been quite a while. Me driving on the highway, still haven't really taken it off, or haven't needed to take it off autopilot, with exception to me wanting to actually test some things. As you can see, it's honestly performed flawlessly. I can't critique it. It's been pretty good. So we're about to move over to 100 zone now. So we'll need to flick this all the way up. So if you flick faster, I think it goes up by 5 increments. So this is now set to 100 kilometers an hour. So I'm going to stay quiet for a little bit, just so you can actually hear the road noise coming through on the M2 motorway in Sydney. So remember, this is the stock Tesla Model Y. So 255 45 R19, I believe. So yeah. Hopefully you can hear all that noise coming through. Usually I do feel it definitely a bit more in my Model Y, but in this one not so much. But I'll stay quiet for a little bit longer so you can hear the noise coming through the microphone. Okay, so the other thing I want to test out is how much wind noise, or how much noise does this car actually shut out from the outside. So what we're going to do is going to wait till we hit 100 k's again in a moment. I'm going to put down the windows and then I'm going to shut the windows and we'll see how we go. So let's get back into the right lane. Auto lane change is honestly magic. So good. Alright, I think it's good enough. We're doing 97 k's an hour. Let's open just my side. Quarter way. And that side, passenger side, also a quarter way. So for the ones that love having their windows open, this is how loud the car is. Alright, and we are also going to put down the rear windows a little bit. So this noise here, I'll stay silent for about 5 seconds. This here is with 4 windows about a quarter way down. For the ones that are really curious, let me put my front windows all the way down. You do hear a fair bit of tyre noise. All right, windows up. Massive difference. Okay, well, I think that wraps up this section of the video, which is all about the highway driving, all about the autopilot, traffic aware cruise control. So as I said, it is true that you cannot click twice and you cannot click once to just have traffic aware cruise control. It's only you select one or the other. So you either have the options as you click once, you get autopilot, or you click once and you get traffic aware cruise control. You unfortunately cannot have both. Now, no feedback, well, I'm pretty sure feedback's gone back through to Tesla, but I will also share that feedback too, as it's something that I personally enjoy and I actually use in my Model Y. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think there's too much more. I will say, as I've said before, I mentioned earlier on in the video, the speed management in this car is absolutely the best that I have ever seen in any car, exactly like our Model Y. It never goes over the speed limit. So for you people who love sticking to the speed limit and you do set it on 0% or 0 kilometers above and below the threshold, you will be happy. So yeah, that's it. If you got any questions, please make sure you drop it in the comment box below. Otherwise, let's jump through to the next part of the video. Okay, so I've got the car in chill mode, so gonna drive and gonna tell you what I think. So haven't had a proper full drive in it before. I have just activated to go really small distance, but I'll give you a quick summary in a moment. So first things first, we've already activated chill mode. We're not going to talk about light, medium, heavy steering, because my honest view is even the standard is actually quite light, but it is quite comfortable. So light, I feel, is still heavier than a lot of the Chinese and Korean cars, but nonetheless, they all do as they say, light, standard, heavy. All right, so let's go for a drive. Now, getting up to even 60 k's an hour, what I can tell you is you definitely do need to step on the accelerator pedal a fair bit in order to get the car moving, for sure. There is no two ways about it. You definitely do need to step more. It is very, very gradual. It's a whole build up of speed, and it's not that it's not aggressive at all. That's probably the easiest way that I can explain it. You know, when you drive, you do have to step on it a bit more, but then to maintain speed, you are also stepping on it a bit more. I definitely feel that if the amount of pressure that I'm stepping on at the moment, if this was going to be switched to, say, standard mode, I'm pretty sure I'd be accelerating a lot faster. That's kind of the indication of how I'd like to explain it to you. But going through that corner just then, yeah, car handles pretty well. There isn't too much body roll. There absolutely is body roll, I'm not going to lie about that. But you do feel quite confident going through. So let me come to a full stop. And let's leave this corner with my foot planted. So my foot's all the way down. This is a 70 zone. So it took a while to get there, but we got there. And yeah, so my foot was full down. Obviously, traction control didn't kick in or anything crazy. The car's not going to spin out, even though it's got about 200 odd kilowatts at the rear wheels. So yeah, nothing too concerning. I'd say chill mode is probably a very good name for it, because you really are chill when you are driving it. You're not expecting crazy power. And you know, for the car enthusiast, actually, if you want me to explain how relaxed chill mode is, if you've driven a car with a bigger turbo, or even I guess mid-sized turbo, it's like you're waiting for that turbo lag. So it's waiting to get to that speed limit. And so that's probably the best way that I'd explain it. Now, in one of the parts of the video, I am actually going to do a comparison on how the power delivery or torque curves are, or I may do it as a separate video just so everyone understands, so we can have a look at that later. So I'll do an analysis, and if it's not in part of this video, I'll make sure that we do include a separate one into it to kind of explain the power delivery. But basically in this chill mode, my personal view is you're stepping on it a lot more, and it is sort of like turbo lag, where you're kind of waiting for it. You don't expect to be thrown back into your seat, but it is still, I guess, very, very smooth. And you know, who's going to need chill mode? I think realistically, kids or children or younger adults that are new to the driving world, I think chill mode is actually quite good, because it's not abrupt, right? It doesn't just send the car flying, because don't forget, this is an EV. So what I can confirm, in this car, even in chill mode, there is no lag. As soon as you step on it, the car starts moving. The difference is, though, when the car starts moving, it moves at a slow pace. So it's not like you're launching off the lights and you'll just be flying straight away. You will actually have to wait. So it is very, very safe. So I personally think learner drivers will absolutely love chill mode. I actually also think people who are drivers themselves, or people who have partners that do unfortunately get car sick or motion sickness, I think this will be perfect for them, because it really does reduce the, I guess, abruptness of the single pedal driving or one pedal driving when you're letting go. So I think that definitely does help. And I think also people with kids that I guess are quite sensitive, or you want to put your younger kids to sleep and you just want less disruption, I think that's probably the other scenario where you'd want chill mode for your car. For me personally, in my Model Y performance over the past 2.5 years, I have never used it. So I actually don't even know what it feels like in that car. I presume it's going to be the same as this, but obviously a little bit quicker. But yeah, that's basically chill mode and standard mode. So there's only two modes, so there's no sports mode for me to explain to you all, but basically this chill mode is very, very chilled, for better use of words. Am I going to continue driving in chill mode? No, I feel like you have to step on the pedal way too hard and it's not as fun. So let's switch dynamics back to standard. Okay, so we're driving through in standard mode through some of the back streets heading up north. What I think standard mode, being able to push the car obviously a little bit more as it's got longer straights and I guess a couple more bends. Look, I think this is a pretty fun car, being in rear-wheel drive for what you get at the dollar value, right? Like, remember, it's not a sports car or anything, but this is a rear-wheel drive car. I can confirm that you definitely can feel that this is a rear-wheel drive car. When you're pushing out of a corner, not to crazy speeds, obviously to the speed limit, you can feel that the car is pushing. Whereas in the all-wheel drive models, you definitely feel the car pulling, like the whole car just moves. That's the only explanation I can give you. But in the rear drive, you definitely feel the rear wheels pushing the car along, and yeah, it's somewhat okay. I'm kind of enjoying it. It's very different. I honestly didn't think I'd enjoy a rear-wheel drive car as much, or I've forgotten how decent rear-wheel drive cars were. I guess loving cars too much and loving too much power just kind of puts you in a position where, you know, you kind of don't really want to consider anything less. Either way, all I want to say, and my point that I'm trying to make, is the rear-wheel drive is still a good car. And in terms of driving dynamics, I think, yes, you'll lose out going from rear-wheel drive, having this rear-wheel drive compared to all-wheel drive. But is it enough for a daily drive? The answer is yes. Alright, so we've just been able to take the car through some of the back streets heading up north. I've had it in standard mode, and all I can say is it's a very well built car in terms of driving dynamics. And don't forget, these are on the base 19-inch wheels, so they do have a fairly decent thickness for the rubber at 45 profile, and it is very, very comfortable. How did the car perform? I think it performed really well. There's still body roll. Don't get me wrong. It's not as if they have eliminated body roll when they've gone from the previous gen Model Y to this one. The body roll definitely still exists, but you'll be glad to know that it is a much more comfortable ride. And when you are pushing, I guess, toward the speed limit around, I guess, wider turns or corners, you can definitely feel the rear wheel drive in this car. And what I mean by that is when you are pushing it, you do feel and you do know that it's a rear wheel drive car. The behavior in terms of how the car's handling does make it quite noticeable that it is a rear wheel drive car. You do feel it pushing you along the way. Whereas for context, if it was in a all-wheel drive car, the car would just go. It's just sort of like a lift and you're throwing yourself. That's how much the motor at the front makes as a difference. Okay, so we are almost at 1 week with the Model Y, the new Model Y. What's the summary? Let's start to wrap up this video. I'm going to do this short segment to wrap up absolutely everything. So first things first, I just want to give a big thank you to Tesla Australia for the opportunity to drive this rear-wheel drive car. This was the first rear-wheel drive Tesla that I've ever driven, so totally appreciate it and really enjoyed this past week and recording all of the content so that you all as the audience are informed on everything. So let's summarize. First of all, space and size for this car. Look, I've been driving the Model Y for 2.5 years now as a mid-size SUV. I think it is a fantastic shape, and I think at this segment, I personally think there is no competition in terms of storage space. With the size of the frunk and the boot space and electronic seats folding, I'm like, the space is absolutely up there. Not much competition exists, especially considering the subfloor as well. It just makes it really, really good. However, there are quite a few competitors that do come very, very, very close for the boot storage. In terms of frunk storage, I think there was only one competitor off the top of my head, and I feel like off the top of my head it was the Deepal S07 that had a really big, probably even bigger frunk than this car. Other than that, as a whole, it definitely is up there in terms of cars that offer storage, a lot of storage, I should say. In terms of space and comfort, look, inside the car, I have been so comfortable with these seats, and I'm not saying this to say that the seats in this car is better than every other car that I've driven recently. This car, for what it is very comfortable. There have been other cars that are also quite comfortable, but if you are considering and you are doing comparison between the previous Model Y and this Model Y, it blows the previous one out of the water. There is no comparison. The comfort levels that you get from the cushioning, I think because they've widened the seat, the arches, it's not like you're sitting, I guess, on curved cushions anymore. So really, really well done. I really like it, and especially having cooling seats that I've just turned on now, I think I am really enjoying it as well. No complaints from me at all. I'm really happy. And then let's talk about rear seats. Rear seat comfort, again, is really nice. Look, they do the job. The only improvement that I could recommend realistically, and it's not something you can change through software, is I would have preferred to have the cup holders in the back stretch a little bit more forward. Other than that, no complaints. I had so much space, and because the Model Y sits higher for these front seats, it means a back person actually can stretch their feet out. So it's really good for them. They're not going to hit the bottom of this seat at any point in time. So really love that. And then in terms of visibility, so visibility wise, look, being a sportback type shape, the rear is still honestly, like, it's not amazing, right? That's the truth. It's not absolutely amazing. However, you do have a quick button over here now in this new Model Y where you can click that and you can actually see the rear. So that's also great. And it kind of helps with that, but it's still not the same if you're saying, look at the back and see how much you see. Look, truth is, you're not going to see much. You can see, but it's just not much if you have to compare it to the likes of traditional SUV shape or a hatchback or something like that. The good side of things is the headrests are now also removable, and the headrests also do not get in the way. Even though they are removable, without removing them, they don't get in the way. So I can confirm that side of things as well. Then drivability or driving dynamics, I've just gone over how standard feels. I think overall this car performs really well. My number one favorite thing about the Tesla brand of vehicles, and includes this one as well, is zero lag. And I harp on it a lot, and people may think, why is it so important? You know, I live in the hills where we have lots of roundabouts. Also, as a car enthusiast, you know, that matters to me too. But the times where you're in peak hour traffic and there's lots of cars that are going through the roundabouts, there are times where you need to take that opportunity, right? You need to be able to get into that gap and get into it. Otherwise, you'll be sitting there for a long time, especially in peak hour traffic. And so, zero lag from the point where you need to, I guess, start the car maneuvering, or you need to lift off from the lights. As soon as you tap the pedal, no one does it better than Tesla. Absolutely not. And honestly, I would say if you haven't tried this before, I highly recommend you give it a go. Honestly, step on the car from the get-go, obviously to a safe speed, but you will notice immediately that there is no lag and the car just takes off straight away. So that side of the driving dynamics, I think they've absolutely nailed, and I hope it never changes, because that is one thing that I feel like people don't talk often enough. That is so valid. And then overall, as a package, realistically, I think it's a great package. It's a great package at $64,000 drive away. I think, yes, there are competitors, but you need to factor in the overall experience that you can have with this car. And some of the things I'm referring to is more like, what does this car offer that some other cars may not? All right, let's try Autopilot. So we're just trying parallel Autopark. Let's see how good or bad this is. I've got my foot on the brakes ready to hit in case we gotta rush the car, or almost gotta rush, because this is a press car and I do not want to pay the excess. Very good so far. Nicely done. That was bonus content for you all. Okay, so that was not too bad. Let's open up the cameras and have a look. So hopefully you can see that there. It's quite close to the curb. Pretty happy with that. That's the front. There's some space there. And if I switch that to behind, there's also space there. So, you know what? Good job. I would actually trust it, at least for now. So, good job, Tesla. Okay, so let's finish the part on as a package. How do I feel? So remember, this car drive away as it is just about $64,000. The long range is about $74,000, and you know, it'd be within $1,000 of that figure. This car did have enhanced autopilot, which means it can automatically change lanes itself. Like when you indicate, it automatically moves lanes. And then it also has, or in the future, it will have summon. And then it has auto park, which I just demonstrated to you. Now that's about a $5,000 option off the top of my head. And so that brings this car then from $64,000 something to $69,000 something. Now, some of the competitors, key competitors, we're talking about European competitors, Volkswagen ID4, ID5. You've got some of the smart hashtag cars. Now that's slightly smaller than this car, so I don't know, some people like to park it in the same bucket, some don't. I'll personally throw it in there just for this discussion. Xpeng G6, C-Line 7, Deepwater SO7 are some big Chinese competition or competitors that are pretty much out and about to take business from Tesla for this car. We've also got the upcoming Zeekr 7X, which is potentially obviously going to be priced higher than this car, that may want to take market share from this car as well. So what you need to consider, I guess, for some of these competitors is, what do they offer as a whole? I know Tesla's got, I guess, a bad stigma in some instances. We're not here to talk politics. We're here to talk facts and what the car offers. Fact is, from a driving dynamic side of things, no one has done a better car in terms of driving dynamics, especially on the pedal feel and the acceleration. Next, you have to look at the app if it's important to you. So I've covered off the app, I guess, in previous videos on my channel, so please make sure you do take a look at that. It's definitely covered off in some of the stuff I love about the Tesla Model Y. And that's something that, as I said, you have to see if it's important to you, i.e. something as simple as phone key. So I'm driving out today, I've just got my phone. I don't carry the key around anywhere. The number of times it's failed on me in terms of the key not working in my 2.5 years of ownership of a Tesla is 0. So that's the confident levels that I want to give you. However, it's not to say that it's not going to fail at all, because I have heard instances, even from friends, that they have had it fail on them. So either way, that's just a call out. So if you don't like carrying keys, then just make sure whichever car you're buying does have that. But either way, we're here to talk about Tesla. So all I want to say is the app is fantastic. Everything is very intuitive. Now, as we're talking about this section and we're talking about as a whole package, is it worth it? I think if you do lots of road trips, I think this is absolutely worth it. Why? Because at this point in time, this is the only manufacturer that has their own charging infrastructure, and it's all integrated into the car. So if you're navigating, say, from here to Queensland, it plans all the stops for you. You know you'll definitely be able to charge, and the downtime for the Tesla Supercharge network is extremely, extremely low. On top of that, the back screen, the addition of the back screen is absolutely fantastic. For kids, for adults, just for anyone who is sitting in the back. Whether you're just driving and you want to entertain them in the back, or they just want to see what songs are playing, switch songs, change the aircon, see how long it's taking to get to your destination. All of that information is readily available right there without distracting the driver. So I think that's also fantastic. And I think that's about it. My only other final comments is, if you are buying one in Australia, look, I know they said that they improved the glass coating, if that's the specific word for it, for the roof, but it's a glass roof at the end of the day. It's winter at the moment in Sydney, Australia. I would still think that in summer season you'd probably want to get a shade for that, because it does get quite hot. Other than that, I think that brings us to the end of the video. Now, if you've watched the entire thing, thank you so much for your support. Thank you to my subscribers, to my coffee supporters, and to my channel members. If you want to join and support me on any of those, then feel free to do so. It's in the description below. Otherwise, thank you again, Tesla, for this opportunity. Now, if you want to see me do the same thing with the Model Y long range, let me know in the comments below. I'll reach out to Tesla and hopefully we can secure a long range. If and when the performance comes to Australia, I will definitely be going to see it. So I will guarantee you that if there is a first opportunity, I will do everything I can to go and see it, to show you all. Either way, as I said, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for your support, and make sure you give this video a like, subscribe for more content, and we'll see you soon.